As you can see from the flight test video, this Stormer flies really well. This is on 3S and it was very smooth while it was flying, and it was also very stable, whether it was in angle mode or acro mode. So I can say confidently that this will fly really well. And I've seen a YouTube video of a review of this quad, and it says that it flies very good for this model. So anyway, I'm not going to fly this Stormer extensively in this video. What I did was just to test fly it in my backyard, just to show that it flies. So if you want to look at how it flies in the field, have a look at the other YouTube videos. I'll probably put up another video with a more extensive flight later on, but as it is, with this video, this is just a review, first impression, and also like a instructions video for you to set up your Furibee Stormer. The reason being that there wasn't any instruction manual that comes with this Furibee Stormer, so I don't know how to change the VTX transmission power. So all I know is it works, and if you need any help with your setup, have a look at the rest of the video, and hopefully this will help you set up and start flying. So I hope you guys like in this video. Please like and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Just remember, quadcopter is not rocket science. See you next time. So in relation to this quadcopter, how it performs in the field with a very short flight test, you can see that it flies really well. The only problem that I have with this quad is really this power cable, because if your battery connector fixed very tightly to this power cable, you need to pull very hard. I'm afraid that it may break this connection here. And the other thing that I'm not very happy with is the exposed wires of the motors here. So apart from that, this quad is good, and the rest of the video you're going to see how this is set up, and hope you like the rest of the video. Enjoy. So now let's talk about what I don't like about the physical setup of this quad. First of all, the power cable, which is on the side here, it is very well exposed, so any crashes may potentially rip this one off. The wires for the motors to the flight control board, although it's heat shrink, you still have these gaps. You can get caught up in some twigs or branches or grass, so it may still potentially rip off. The other thing is the camera. I have experience with this type of mount before, so any potential crash will also damage the camera. As for the antenna, you can see that it's not fixed tightly on the frame, so it's moving around. So this one is also not good, and also the antenna wire is on the bottom here, so this may potentially rip off. And the most important thing that I don't like about this quad, the setup, is the motors. If you look at the motors, you can see that the wires are exposed underneath. I can understand why they're doing this, because they try to do a mount like this, which is very similar to a micro quad, but in all the micro quad that you have this type of similar mount, the motors wires are enclosed in a case. So what they are doing here, I think, is they want to lose some weight of these motors. They want to fix any vibration issues with vibration going to the frame from the motors, but instead they are making this even worse because they're exposing wires on the bottom side of the motors. Let me show you an example of a normal motors. So in this Dart Max, you can see that in a normal motor, the wires are all enclosed in the case. So, and also this connection from this motor wire to the FC board is also well protected, so you don't potentially rip this off that easily. So this is a normal type of motors. And in a micro quad like the Emax Baby Hot, you can see also that it has this very similar mount on the bottom here, but still the wires for the motors are not exposed, so they're enclosed in the case, so it's well protected for the motor. So with this quad, there's really nothing you can do with the motors. You can't really put anything here to protect it, so just be careful when you fly this quad. And the other things, it can be easily fixed with this motors wire. You can use a zip tie to zip it down so that it can be well secure. For this power cable, there's really nothing much that we can do. We just leave it, just be careful, and also just be careful when you fly this quad. Also the camera potentially may be damaged. And this part, maybe we can secure down with some rubber bands here. So I'll think about what I can do with these defects and come back and show you what I've done. So the physical setup of this quad is not that hard to prepare and to set it up. So basically you just screw on this area or antenna, and make sure that you screw the base tightly to the frame, otherwise it's going to move around like I showed you earlier. Then I just use a zip tie to zip tie the motor wires so that they don't have a gap and prevent it from potentially ripping off. And I just tighten the screw to the camera and also put the straps underneath the frame. I don't like the way that the strap has to go under the ESC board, because that may potentially damage the board when the battery is being moved around, ripped out. And it comes with this battery pad. You just need to take off the sticker protection wrapper or whatever that you call it, and it's to stick it onto the frame. And this is the battery straps, and that's all the physical setup that you need to do with this quad. So this is all what the Stormer looks like when it is all set up with the props on. So I have the free sky version of the Furibee Stormer. So I'm using this Tyrannus X90 Plus to set up my model. So basically my model is just copying over my existing model and change the name of the model and change the receiver settings from D8 to D16, because this one has an SM Plus receiver. So let me show you my model. So I named my model F Stormer, so let me just press menu, go to page. You can see that it's F Stormer. So I have the timer set up with SF switch. The rest are all the same for all my previous models. So I change the D16. I can put bind later. So I show you the rest of the model settings. So you can see this TAER, ARM, SF, modes, SG, beep. So these are my usual settings. And I just need to readjust this the sticks value later when I get it bound, and then connect that to beta flight. Now this is the timer settings where I use this special function to set up my timer. That's it for the model setup. So now let's do the binding. Before I start the binding process, I just want to show you where the receiver is. So the receiver is located here, and this XM Plus has a switch here that you need to press on that while you're powering on the quadcopter. So because this receiver gets power up when it is connected to the USB power, so I'm not going to connect using the LiPo battery. I'm going to use my power bank to power this up, and then I can then bind this to my receiver, or to my transmitter, sorry about that. So in that way it's much easier to do the binding. So let me show you how it is done. This before I proceed any further, this button is a bit hard to press, so you just need to be careful not to press it too hard with your screwdriver. So I'm using this power bank with all this connected with the micro USB cable connected. So I'm going to do the binding process now. So let me unplug this from the power bank. Plug this micro plug into this flight control board here. Here it's plugged in. So what I need to do now is basically just to push this, just to have it a little bit connected without pushing it all the way in first. The tricky part is getting this, pressing the button here. Yeah, I can feel it. I can let go. So the blue, you see the lights on the receiver are now orange and green. I think that's in binding mode. So what I need to do now is just to press enter here. I think it should be bound. Let me disconnect this. And exit. And reconnect the power. Yep, so you can see that now this receiver lights is green now. So I think it's bound. So I've checked the receiver. I connected that to a Betaflight, and initially I couldn't get it to recognize. Then I had to go to setup and change the port. The default port is UART 6, so you have to change to UART 1. So just remember that. So let me show you that it works now.
Welcome to OpenTX.
So that concludes the binding process. So I also want to show you that fail-safe works. So just connecting the battery. So I'm arming it, and then I'm turning off my transmitter.